Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot, and welcome back to Cryptid Park, our Jurassic World Evolution series, where we're building a park tour that's going to go through many different dinosaur enclosures, and within those enclosures will be dinosaurs that resemble cryptids from all around the world, in various different ways, either physically or through their general vibe, and what they get down with, and all that kind of jazz. So, actually have 4 cryptids so far. We started with the Mokele-Mbembe, we moved on to the Mapinguari, then we had the Beast of Bray Road, and in the last video we added the Indominus Rex, i.e. the Wendigo. Now I asked for names and someone came up with the name. This is an Algonquin name that means the conqueror of many or the killer of many, depending on which source you use. I don't really know how to pronounce it, if I'm totally honest. It's like Migedahik. It's like a Vihik or something like that. It's not like a D sound. I don't really have a clue, if I'm totally honest, but there it is. It's a cool name. There were a lot of other good names. I really liked Abathor as well, for whoever suggested that. That was a great name as well. But I thought an actual Algonquin name was a slightly better fit, basically. Now, what are we doing today then? We'll say that before we pop out our first dinosaur. So, back to the script. After the relative intensity of last week's discussions on the Wendigo, and it did get a little bit intense, today we're going to go for what is a more classic cryptid, I would say, in terms of how it's designed in a way. Although it's one I'd never actually heard of until very recently. Today's cryptid is the Kappa Lobo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kappa Lobo. And it's pretty bloody weird, although not as weird as the were-dolphin was. Because nothing ever will be. So, we'll talk about the Kappa Lobo a little bit more in a second. We're actually going to, instead of following around where the Wendigo is over here, we're going to go back over here. The Kappa Lobo is a South American cryptid. And although the Mokele, I should say, is not South American, it does have that kind of vibe in its enclosure. And of course, the use of the Amazon River. I kind of want the Amazon River to stretch around this whole northern part off the map, so we're going to do just that. It's a dangerous critter, so I think we'll use the electrified fence and bring that around there. I'm not going to try to cut out too much of the tree line around there. And it doesn't need to be a particularly... This park is going to be huge. Like, it feels like we've got these massive exhibits, and we do, but because everything is part of the park tour, rather than, you know, there's very little restaurants and there's all that kind of jazz, it means everything is exhibit. So we've got all this space still left. It's going to be really cool by the end. This means we're not going to do the track yet. This track will be done, obviously, at the end. Although we could. Could we do it this way? I think so, right? Go like this? Yeah. Let's see why not. It might be easier to do this later on. We'll just add this one later on. That's okay. So, before we pop out the dinosaur and I show you it, very exciting, this dinosaur, by the way. This is a modded dinosaur. This is like a exclusive little preview. This mod is actually not released to the public quite yet, so big shout out to Sweetener, the mod maker, who hooked me up. What is the Capelobo? Capelobo, I should say. It's Capelobo. Script. Hailing from the northern reaches of Brazil, this more obscure cryptid has difficult to trace origins. Now, I translated a lot of different Portuguese language pages. I was through Google, I don't speak Portuguese, and I was unable to find a proper, decisive history as to where the Kappa Lobo comes from. It seems to have originated primarily in the indigenous tribes of the rainforests to the north, particularly in a region called the Xingu River, which is a tributary of the Amazon, and it sort of stretches down from the northeast of Brazil. The more elusive nature of these tribes, and the lack of written documents in particular throughout their history, probably goes some way to explaining the creature's more mysterious origins. Its name, though, we can translate. Lobo means wolf in Portuguese. It's a derivation of lupus. And cape, or carpe, I guess. Kappa seems to be a term actually native to the tribes in the region. I couldn't find like a proper direct Portuguese translation other than cape. And it seems to mean crooked or broken. The Kappa Lobo then is the crooked wolf. It's a really cool name, but not one that really links directly with the creature in the way that you would expect. In a second, we'll take a look at the physical characteristics. But before we do that, we do need to actually pop out a dinosaur. We're going to make 2 of these for fun. I don't know if there's alternate colours, and I want to test out that theory. So we need to find, like I say, it is a modded dinosaur. We're looking for the Aloro Titan. I'm going to pop out a second colour. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does. We'll see what happens. Okay, this is going to be a pretty short episode, I think. Right, so what we're going to do Tell you what, let's just get straight into... Bear with me, bear with me. No, I want to describe what it is when it pops out, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. What I want to do, though, so it hangs around the Xingu River. Well, that's where the origins are, which is a tributary of the Amazon, which means it's like a little side river, essentially, that splits off from the Amazon. So what I want to do is kind of have like a big old river that's meant to resemble the Amazon, like so. And then we'll have a smaller river stretching off. Right, we need to flatten here, I think. But we'll have like a smaller river. We'll have a tributary stretching off away from it, and that's going to be our Xingu River. This technically is not the Amazon, because this is oopsie daisy. This is Africa over here. Oh no. Oh no. I ruined everything. What the hell? Well, that got Zebla. That got destroyed instantly. Fantastic. Wow. Okay, so that's going to stretch over here. No, we're keeping it flatten. Bear with me. I don't think of the Amazon... I was going to say I don't think of it as a very hilly place, but it definitely is. Not hilly per se, but more like... What's going on there? You cheeky little tree. I really like that cheeky little tree. That's going to stay there. But definitely, like, it's more like tall... It's not like hilly as in it goes up and down, but I imagine more large sloping hills off to the side, and they're always, you know, dense and packed with trees. Okay. So that's the Xingu River there. I'm going to just thin it out a little bit the further we get. And if you look at it from this way, it's kind of heading from the northeast downwards as well, which is pretty cool. It seems our dinosaur is ready though, so let's see if this has worked. I haven't seen this in game. I've seen a screenshot that I got provided. There it is. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a Deinocheirus mod right here in Jurassic World Evolution. How cool is that? Now, it is a mod, so we'll take a second to actually take a look at it. As I say, this is, whoopsie daisy, a fairly new thing popping up. The eyes, terrifying. It's got like a little bit of patterning on it. It's a little bit low res, we'll be honest, but the patterning is definitely meant to resemble, you know, feathering, furring, stuff like that. Very good for the Kappa Lobo, which is covered in fur. We'll just point out some things and we'll see why this links in very well with the Kappa Lobo in a second. Not only does it look great, but it's large, it's covered in fur, it's got kind of like hench arms with these big long claws as well. That's very important. And more importantly than basically everything else, ladies and gentlemen, it has a long snout. The snout is very important. We'll get to that in a second. Let's just pop out the other colour. There is our Deinocheirus. Very cool. Different colour or... Oh, nice. Oh no, that means I need to pop out all of them. Alright, we need to make loads of these. Because we're looking for specific colours and now I don't know which one to use. I tell you what, let's just let's do that. I think I only need 4. So we're looking... Well, we'll talk about what we're looking for in a second. There we go. Let's pop out all 4 of these and we'll pick the best colour. It might be the default. The default is not far away. Bloody mods ruining my life, I tell you, making me do all this extra work. Right, so once we observe our Kappa Lobos, let's talk about what a Kappa Lobo... Do you actually have any food? Yes, sir. Let's talk about what the Kappa Lobo actually is. So, the Kappa Lobo, the crooked wolf. Well, it's not really a wolf at all. The most distinctive feature of the Kappa Lobo, which is a tall, humanoid beast in a lot of ways, is its snout, which is why this is so important. It's prolonged, it's long, shush, and hanging down, much like that of a tapir or, in particular, an anteater. It basically has the head of an anteater with that long snout that hangs down. And that's why the Deinocheirus, I think, is a really cool fit for this creature. In fact, many depictions of the Kappa Lobo show it with the telltale long, snaky tongue of the anteater stretching forth from its snout. The rest of the creature is a lot more typical for cryptids. You know, the head is freaky, but the rest of the creature is a little bit more typical. It's tall, it's muscular, it's covered in dark fur, it's got ferocious claws on both arms as well. And that's why, again, I think the Deinocheirus is pretty cool. It's got those long claws, it's got like a bit of a hench, strong, muscular feeling body to it. And it also has hooved feet, which we don't have here, but what are you going to do? The Kappa Lobo is very much then an amalgam of various different rainforest creatures. We'll talk about more We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Fun fact, by the way, in some regions the Kappa Lobo is depicted as only having one leg. It's a bit weird. And that's because of the odd and sort of the tracks for it are meant to be singular. You know, there's not two hooves next to each other, it's one hoof separated out. And yeah, and oh god, I've lost myself completely here. This seems to be at least partially influenced by actually another Brazilian cryptid. There's loads of them, by the way. And I'm going to butcher this. It's like the Pedegarafa or something like that. It's a huge horned primate with one leg. It's called bottlefoot. It's very, very strange. Anyways, what then does the Kappa Lobo do? What is its abilities? How does it get you? Because it's a cryptid, it's going to eat people. So, because it's a cryptid, it of course also carries an abhorrent stench of death and decay, because every goddamn cryptid does. It's a vampiric beast as well, seeking out the blood of its human prey, ones it hunts at dusk and also in the dead of night. Notice how so few cryptids come out in the day. It's funny that, isn't it? And it loves to specifically hunt, this is lovely, newborn animals. That's puppies, kittens, and indeed human babies as well, although it is very capable of taking down a fully grown man. If it manages to catch you, and this is why people are scared of the Kappa Lobo and why I think it's really cool, if it manages to catch you, it contains you with these huge claws and these huge monstrous arms. The Kappa Lobo will then put its long anteater tongue to use. It will snake into your head, it will penetrate your skull, and it will suck out the brain matter from its prey. It's a funny looking creature, but it's not a funny death. I think it's very, very cool. Bonus fact, which I actually didn't script for some reason, but I was meant to talk about it. The only way to kill a Kappa Lobo, apparently, is to shoot it in the navel. Which is very odd as well. I don't have anything to say on that one. Right, let's check out our Loros. So, as I say, it's covered in a dark, almost black fur. So basically, the darkest one we find is the one we're going to be going for. So you're a little bit rubbish, mate. I'm afraid. So the default is pretty good. It's got dark fur, the red around its snout, the blood of its victims. Like I said, it is vampiric, so sometimes it will suck out the brain matter, sometimes it will slash your carotid artery and it'll just drink your blood, and sometimes it'll just full on eat you. I guess it depends what it's in the mood for, you know? It's like a pick and mix, and it can kind of decide what it wants to go for. We should get rid, or start getting rid of these two, because they're definitely not going to be the chosen ones. What's in door number 4? It's a little bit... No. It looks like toothpaste. That's not what I'm going for. Yeah, number 1, you are definitely winning so far. I'll tell you what. We'll just tranquilize all of them. Understood. Still got 2 left to go, though. You never know. You never know. I don't actually have that much left on this cryptid. The Wendigo was such a fascinating creature that had such a diverse history that I could talk for hours on it. The Kappa Lobo is much more obscure, very important to the people of the region, I'm sure, but in terms of a cryptid analysis, a little bit more mundane. It's a little bit more typical cryptid, it should be said. I've been thinking a lot about the next video, the next one I want to do, and I do want to, as has been suggested, move on to, I want to go for what, in my opinion, other than Bigfoot, is the most famous cryptid. I say Bigfoot, Loch Ness, and the Chupacabra are probably the big 3. Maybe I'm missing something, but to me, in England at least, those would be the big 3 that I would mainly think about. Bigfoot and Loch Ness I would say above Chupacabra, but Chupacabra, I actually wrote I actually just remembered the story. I had a friend called Sam, I can't remember Sam's last name anymore, back in primary school, high school sort of time. I was about 10 years old at the time, and he had to write an essay, like, not an essay, but like a short story for a class, and he was terrible at writing short stories, whereas it was my thing. I loved to do that. I loved to write short stories for class and stuff like that. And I remember I wrote his short story for him, and it was a horror story about the Chupacabra. So the Chupacabra was always very important to me. And as someone suggested, I was at all of them. In the comment section, I think the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptor is actually probably a really good version of the Chupacabra. It's small, it's dark, it's got quills, it's got red eyes, it's very Chupacabra-esque. I'll look into other things. It is a little bit on the large side, but not by that much. maybe there's a Troodon out there or something like that that would be a better fit. But I think it's an interesting idea and one we'll definitely be considering. We should work on the bloody habitat a little bit. We are in the Amazon. This is the main Amazon River here, so we want this bit in particular, I think, to have the trees down the side. This isn't really why we're here. I think over here, what I'm going to do is, I like the idea of there being like a little camp. Now, it's not necessarily going to look like that, but there are grasslands and open sort of plains in the area as well. And the, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, actually. Let's get some grasslands in there. I don't know, maybe they just saw the tree as a landmark, so the people of the area decided this would be a good place to make a camp. And I'm tempted, not that restroom, but maybe... Where is it again? It's in here. There we go. I mean, it's not bad, I don't think. I think it's pretty okay. They all live down there. I want to get the water to come a little bit further that way as well. Over there. There you go, there's our little our little sort of camp area. What we'll do as well is just make it look a little bit cooler. If we go into here and we replace these back fences with the cable fence, we can do this and have our invisible fences. A mod I will never, ever be uninstalling because it's amazing. It's so good. There we go, yeah. Well, they can live there, sweet. And then this over here would be the main chunk of the Amazon River itself, so we're going to go heavier on the trees in this sort of region over here. Maybe a few fancy looking trees in there. Don't know if these aren't really that appropriate, but whatever, we're going to do. Some big boys. Let's get some big boys. I should really learn what species of trees these are all meant to be, so I can only use them in appropriate situations, but alas. And then I think the water itself should be a little bit more, you know, coloured in, basically. Get some coastal in there. We're just going to go hard in on the foliage. Give it a nice dense rainforest feel, as per usual, really. Maybe we can get some flowers around here. Come on, Vibrant. You can do it, buddy. Apparently you can't. Well, come on, Vibrant. I thought Vibrant was flowers. Am I confused? Coastal's got like a really nice kind of like mossy look to it, though, which I like. Let's get some of that in there. Okay, so it seems that we are using the default Allura Titan for our little things. So let's get rid of that one and let's shift this one over to the habitat. And because I'm such a lovely person, we're going to give it something to eat. Now I want it to not go into the camp, but I want it to be near the camp. So I think we're going to put it like there. And then if you were in the camp, you might see it crossing over on the hill on the other side of the water. Anyways, whilst we wait for it to arrive, let's hunker down in here and talk a little bit more. So, the Kappa Lobo. Do we know anything about where these creatures come from or what they might actually be? Well, the Kappa Lobo, like most cryptids, has a lot of roots in mysticism, but also in life lessons, you know? It is said to hunt on Sundays in particular, favouring other hunters, people who should be at home and respecting the Lord's Day, inverted commas. The beast then is a good way of driving home the necessity of Catholicism, obviously. Unsurprising in a nation so fervently Catholic as Brazil actually is. It is also said to be similar to a werewolf, which I guess is where the crooked wolf comes from, because it is possible for a human to turn into a Kappa Lobo. That's how Kappa Lobos come about. They are transformed from humans, basically. But they will be unable to ever turn back, so it's not a typical transformation from a werewolf. It's kind of this thing that happens to you. One of the more compelling articles I found on the cryptid suggests that the people who turn into the Kappa Lobo are people who are nearing death from old age. Some of the English wikis on this suggested that it was people who go into the forest to die, basically. Elderly people who go into the forest to die, they will in turn become the Kappa Lobo. He's running for it. They will in turn become the Kappa Lobo. I might move the... I think it'd be cool to be able to see it a little bit from here, but not completely. That's a bit much. We can put some more trees in front of it. There we go. So you get like a glimpse of it, but you're not going to fully see it. That's cool. So they all suggest that it's people who go into the forest to die. But one of the Portuguese articles I found, one of the more compelling ones, suggested that the people who abandon or neglect the power of their elders, the shamans of the tribe, those are the people who turn into the Kappa Lobo at old age. So again, it really is life lessons in cryptid forms. Every single cryptid is a life lesson in some description. But what is the Kappa Lobo in reality then? Why the Kappa Lobo? Similarly to the Mapinguari and others, its history is long and passed primarily over stories told in the dark and, warning tales to the children of the camps. The beast likely malformed over time, taking on new forms and abilities to suit the nature of the area and the animals in the area. But the head of the beast, at least, seems of course heavily influenced by the giant anteater that roams the forests and grasslands of the region, likewise the tamandua, which is a smaller and absolutely adorable species of anteater that also, can be found in the forests. The claws are similar to an anteater's, they're long and curved, as we can see on our lovely Deinocheirus. And the ferocity of the attacks is probably attributed to jaguar attacks on humans, which aren't the most common thing, but they are becoming more and more common due to rampant deforestation. The hooves, well, there's a number of ungulates in the rainforest. The tapir, several species of deer, and several species of peccary as well. So that's what I'm on about. It seems like it's a kind of a coalescing of various different animals in the area to form one terrifying, blood-sucking, brain-eating hodgepodge. Why it uses the tongue to eat the brains of its foes, I don't know, but it's very cool. We can observe it in the distance. The Capelobo. Wait. Let's try. It hunts at night and at dusk, so we're gonna play in dusk for a little bit. We very rarely spend any time in dusk mode. Don't know why. Here it is. Capelobo. Shh. It's a Sunday. We should all be in church, and that's why the Kappa Lobo has arrived. I'm going to zoom in with my eyeballs. The Kappa Lobo. How cool is this? It has a slightly terrifying look to it when it just rears up a little bit. You see those eyes. The eyes are very bright on this mod. It kind of looks like they're gleaming in the darkness a little bit. Look at that. You know what? For such a cute creature, I quite like the Deinocheirus, but it looks rather ominous to me at the moment. It's got a little bit of ferocity to it. My closing statement then, as we observe our Kappa Lobo. The Kappa Lobo then is likely a hodgepodge of different... Hodgepodge, by the way, what an amazing term. Of different Amazonian animals. To speculate a little bit, at its origins I suspect a group of people, probably a group, was attacked by something larger and deadlier, again, jaguar, something like that. And in the chaos and the darkness, some of the tribespeople spotted an anteater lurking nearby. It is also said to have a ferocious call, by the way, so there you go. Like a scream so powerful it can stun you as it attacks. Anyways, they spot an anteater nearby, and in the shadows and the fear and the blood and the death and everything, you see this anteater nearby, you spot the long snout, and you attribute it to whatever is, attacking you. I think it'd be really easy to link the two together, and thus create the image of the Kappa Lobo. It ranks up there, it must be said, as one of the less likely cryptids, to say the least. It's a monstrous half-man, half-beast with the head of an anteater, and it sucks your brains out with an anteater tongue. Seems very unlikely, but it is probably one of the more effective tales on the children of the Xingu River, and I'm sure they'll be staying home in the future to say their Sunday prayers. That's my closing line, I thought it was nice. Right, so yeah, that's the Kappa Lobo. I'm off script now, it's very sad. Kappa Lobo. It's cool, right? The mod's great as well. Looks like Deinocheirus, exactly what you'd want from a Deinocheirus mod. Don't know when it's going to come out or anything like that, but keep an eye on the Nexus for Jurassic World Evolution if you do mod the game. I know it's part of a wider pack, so when that pack comes out, we'll probably take a look at the pack itself rather than just the individual dinosaurs, but I thought it was a really good fit and an opportunity to explore what I would say is probably the most obscure cryptid of the series so far. However, I'm a little bit bored of South America. No offense, Brazil, but I think we've had 3... Well, no, let me have a look here. So we've had... This is South America, This is Africa. This is South America. This is North America. And this is North America, South America, Africa. We need to expand our horizons a little bit. We're very America focused right now. I think what we'll do then is delay the Chupacabra by a little bit. Although it would be perfect for around here. I kind of want like open plains and not foresty areas for the Chupacabra. But we'll see about that. Let's hop back to daytime. I don't know. Again, I'm always open to suggestions and ideas. I do like the idea of the Chupa and the ideas we have for it so far. That's definitely going to be a thing down the line. But I'd like to maybe do a European cryptid. A lot of people... Oh, excuse me. A lot of people have, of course, suggested the Loch Ness Monster. But... that'd be interesting. I'd like to delve into the history of the Loch Ness Monster. The only reason I'm hesitant is we already have a sauropod resembling a creature, you know, and it's already a pretty direct one. And the Loch Ness Monster would basically just be another big-ass sauropod. I'm sure we can find a way to make it interesting, make it Scottish somehow, but yeah, I'm not totally sure about the Loch Ness. I mean, it might be a bit too obvious, but we'll see. I'll do a little research as well, see if I can find a particularly cool European cryptid. If you have any suggestions for that, that'd be great. Also, cryptids elsewhere. Australia, there's a bunyip. Is that how you pronounce it? Something like that, the bunyip, which I definitely want to cover. I think that's Australian. There's also a Ceratosaurus in North America, which I don't think we're touching. If there's one in the Arctic, that would be even cooler. I'll do a little research, but we'll try to... It'd be cool if we could get a cryptid from every continent, basically, by the end, so I think we'll start to try to do that. We can also do smaller habitats, you know, they don't have to all be massive. The Chupacabra does not need a humongous habitat. These are all wide-ranging animals and Amazon forests and stuff like that, but it'd be cool to do some smaller ones as well, so we'll definitely look at doing that in the near future. But I hope I taught you lots about the Kappa Lobo if you haven't heard of it before. Like I said, this was a brand new cryptid for me. This was all new information today. Definitely hard to find information out about, but one of the weirder cryptids out there, which is always pretty cool. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're enjoying this cryptid series, please do hit the like button. If you're learning anything and just having a good time, thumbs up. I am working on another series on the cryptids where it's very different to this, not gameplay associated. But that's going to be a little while away still, so keep an eye out for that in the near future. I will see you lovely folks next time for something. Something European, something Australian, something Arctic? Question mark? We shall see. Something Asian. We still don't have an Asian cryptid either. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.